Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I am one of your hosts, Chris Phelps. My co-host and very good friend is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Love is Blind Season 2, Episode 3. Now, Chris, this one, it seems like a little bit of a slower burner for us. But, I mean, where do you want to start with this episode?
Well, we get the backdrop of Shanae's sort of, not cliffhanger, but she laid it on the line for Shane, didn't she? Now, I don't like Shane or Shanae at all, Dave. Shanae, that's the wrong show, but we know who Shanae is. If anyone's been listening, she's another awful character. I don't like these two. I think these two fit together perfectly. Both superficial, both fake as fuck. She lays it on, but Shane does say, it's too little too late for me. I'm already in a relationship. Why didn't you tell me before? Gets a little bit aggressive again, Dave. There's something going on there with that lad that I do not like at all. And he ends up embracing Natalie. And I've got to say, Dave, I've never met someone more fake in my life. Poor Natalie's there, laid it on the line. You know, all that. He's kissing her, he's hugging her, and I could see his eyes were flickering. The body language was not portraying what he was telling Natalie. And I'm thinking, oh dear, Natalie's in for a fucking fall here, without a doubt. So I don't like him or Shayna at all. Shayna. Fucking Shayna.
No, you got it right.
Yeah, Shayna, I got it right this time. I don't like either of them, Dave, and I think they'd be a perfect match together because they're a couple of shithouses, but there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, bear in mind, we are still in episode 3, and if I think back to season 1, I hardly remember the pods. It's the stuff once they get out of the pods and they start living together, you know, the couples start mixing. That's when the sparks, you know, the fireworks start to fly, isn't it? You think about Jessica with, what was his name? Barnett, you know, and how she's going after him and stuff. I think this relationship between Shayna and Shane is not over. Completely agree with you, what you were saying about he showed his aggressive tendencies again. It's really a troubling trait that he's got there. It's a bit of a red flag how, you know, he's getting really angry that she'd like basically expressed her feelings. And it's like, oh man, if only I'd have known, you know, I wouldn't have fucking proposed to Natalie then. And it's like, well, maybe if that's how you felt, you should have fucking held back a bit then. You know, it's like, I don't know why Shayna is giving him the time of day the way he behaved the last time. And, but I do think her feelings for him, or at least in terms of the show, you know, the plastic fakeness of the show, I do think she has feelings for him, but, no, I think he's going to be the problem there. Natalie, you know, she'd marked her territory before, hadn't she? When, you know, that's what set off this whole triangle. You know, she made sure that what Shane had told her went back and Shayna heard it. And that spun us off on a trajectory that where we are now. But unfortunately, I do think Natalie is going to end up the loser here. Because what's the name? The one who's ended up proposing to Shayna.
Kyle. Is it Kyle, the builder?
Is it Kyle, is it? With the ears?
Kyle. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, but yes. Kyle, Dave. I didn't say about his ears.
But you knew exactly. He was like, yeah, we're definitely talking about the same person. All right. 8 mail to me on that one. So, yeah, not very nice. But, you know, he's got something about him as well, because they've got this difference in how they see religion. She's very religious, doesn't believe in evolution or anything like that. And he's an atheist. But again, there was just no middle ground. As Chris, I'd class myself as agnostic. You know, that's where you don't follow a religion, but you believe in a creator. That's just my choice. I don't give a fuck what anyone else believes. But if someone asks me, okay, why do you think that? I would explain it. And that's my choice. That's what I believe. But both of them seem to be stuck in a position where they had the right answer. You know what I mean? It wasn't opinion. They just had the right answer. Now, I don't know if we've ever discussed this before, Chris, but the reason I am agnostic is because of science. Because I actually fucking studied what things like the Big Bang and stuff like that. And that moved me from being in an atheist position to an agnostic position. But he was just trotting out shit about, oh yeah, well, science in it, the Big Bang. And it's like, no, you actually don't know what you're talking about. And you are just as ignorant as anyone else who follows whatever religion, just swallows it without actually, making a choice. You are that because, your family do that. I just think there's ignorance on both sides there. But Shayna there's no way she's going to get past that. And when he makes his declaration of love and they're going to get married, supposedly, she's just taken the only offer that's on the table to stay in the show. She doesn't like him. There's nothing going to happen there. So I think that as well, it goes into the mix of this. Well, it's not a triangle anymore if you include Kyle, is it? This love square. But Shayna and Shane are the ones that are going to mix it all up.
Yes. And the thing is with Kyle, she made it bluntly obvious that she's not asked. She left him. We got all these still like slow-mo shots of her walking around the room after she'd gone back to her room and she's in the gown. But then there was this weird shot of her holding the case. He's walking down the corridor in the robe. Are the hotel going to fucking charge her for that fucking robe? Is she going home in it? It was a weird choice of the fucking production there. But she's getting a lot of airtime on this. And I think you're right. They're going to mix it up. They're somehow at one of these dinners, they're going to get together, aren't they, Dave? We're going to see what we're watching on Married at First Sight Australia, where we've got Daniel and Carolina, like the with other partners as well. Daniel's out of the competition now, but they're still sniffing around each other, aren't they? There is a connection there, whether we agree with it or not. I think that's what's going to happen. I think this could be the first couple. And I'm going to say something now, Devin. I said this on The Bachelor with like Shanae and stuff. I think these two are actors. I really do. I think they've been put in there to mix it up. I'm not saying that Natalie is or Kyle. I think they're genuine. I think these two have got something behind them because they're too comfortable in front of the camera. And Shane is just weird. He's just a load of shit he's coming out with. She's loving the attention, Shane, and she's loving obviously they're spending a lot of time on her in production and reshoots and that. It's too cute for me what's going to happen. I might be wrong, and people may have watched it, we're listening, so we could be way off, guys. So apologies if later down the line I'm like, Corel, Dave, I'm eating my words as usual because my predictions are shit. But they just seem too cute. It just seems too easy and too obvious what's going to happen now. It's going to be a wife swap as such. Now, Natalie and Kyle are probably more compatible from what they've said to Shanae and Shane and stuff like that. Shayna and Shane.
You just can't get Shanae off the brain.
Shanae.
We need to watch Bachelor in Paradise. I'm pretty sure she's going to be on that. So
yeah, I think so.
That'll cleanse you.
But yeah, well, I don't know if it will, but that will, that is what I'm seeing from all this, and I'm not buying any of it. If I'm being honest, Dave.
Yeah, it's always difficult to tell, isn't it? Especially when we're watching The Bachelor alongside this. It's like where you just don't believe anything that you're seeing. But then we don't believe it, but then we still get fucking wound up by it. It's like, oh, I can't believe they did that. So, I don't know. Look, they could be actors. But I don't know. I'm going along with it for the minute. I don't think Shane. The problem is with these reality stars that they peddle themselves as like TV personalities, don't they? So once they've been on one of these things, and then they'll go to all of the functions and whatever, do the magazine deals, all of that. Why would you make sure that you presented yourself as a bit of a dick? Because I think that's what Shane is doing. I think Shayna could argue the case of, well, we had fundamental differences over religion with me and Kyle, so it just didn't really work out. And I found out after I had more of a connection with Shane. I think hers is a defendable position when she's doing all the interviews after. Whereas I think to date, Shane's angriness He just seems like a proper fucking dude, bro, from like a bygone era. Or, I like to think it's a bygone era, but I'm probably being a bit optimistic there. I just think, I think they are not actors, but we'll see. We'll see as we get into the season. I have to say, I think if I think back to series 1, I think there's more potential for this to go off than in series 1. I do feel like, the series 1 people probably in there for to find someone. But even with that, Damien, you could see, in fact, all of them were taking the vitamins after, weren't they? When we saw the reunion, and you realise, oh wait, no, this lot are as bad as the fucking Bachelor lot. They love all the parties, and he's even had his sweat glands removed and stuff. And it's like, oh, fuck's sake, So what can you believe? But I tell you what, I do believe, Chris. There may be trouble ahead.
Well, Dave,
and I'm gonna love it.
You're right, because there's another four-way split as well with one of the other couples, isn't there? So we've had this, but you've got like what's it called? So you've got Jarrett, Mallory, Salvador, Liana. Yeah. And they're all together. Obviously, Jarrett and Salvador laid it onto Mallory. Jarrett really laid it onto her and was like, if I proposed to you, what would you do? Eventually, Mallory's like, you're a great guy, but... And at that point, Jarrett's going, holy shit, what am I going to do? Now, he did tell Liana what the score was. It was a weird conversation. Then he just went... I want to marry you. And she was like, what? This isn't how I expected this to go. She was crying. She thought she was getting dumped. Next minute, it was like, yep, let's do it. So I don't know with Jarrett, Dave. He got a great, not great, but a really tragic backstory, the situation about him nearly losing his life and that, that's a bad choice of words. But do you know what I mean? Like, it's a really interesting backstory. There was a real connection between him and Liana. And then he just sort of went back to Mallory, and I was like, I don't get that. But it's worked itself out. They seemed really keen when the doors shut. They were both like fist pumping. And she did say to me, I was pissing myself out. She went, fuck me, he's got a big head. I don't know if my cervix could take it. And I'm thinking, because she had a baby, and I was pissing myself because I was like, that's what you would do in a relationship, wouldn't you? They've only just met properly in person, but it's a sort of daft comment you would say as a couple, wouldn't you? Like, I'm not letting you anywhere near me because your fucking head's massive or something, something stupid like that.
Your offspring will be.
Yeah, the offspring will be massive head sort of thing. Yeah. So there's that, but I'm not sure Jarrett is completely all in, Dave. I think it's a bit like what's happened with Shayna there, where it's basically, I've got to pick somebody. I've got a connection with her. Let's see, and hopefully this works. I think that's where I'm sitting on that sort of quad of you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like I appreciated Jarrett's honesty. Certainly outside of this experiment, you wouldn't have thought many blokes would be that upfront, because he'd laid it on the line. There's no doubt in my mind that he would have proposed to Mallory. So, he goes and he divulges everything. What's the girl's name again?
Ayana,
right. So he divulges everything and then proposes. So you'd have to think, well, outside of this experiment, that would not happen, would it? It would be a closed door then. Because it's like, well, you're talking to me and my mate. My mate's binned you off, and now, you come in and you want to go out with me kind of thing. So trying to put that veneer of real life over this probably is a redundant task, really, because again, this is what makes me think that the pair of them are just wanting to stay in the show at this point.
Yeah.
Because if you're at the point where you're even like, let's go out, let's start dating or whatever, and you've developed actual feelings, because that's what this format promotes. It's generating these feelings, but without physically seeing or, going for a particular type of person or whatever. But I believe, the feelings generated are real. But if your feelings are coming from this one voice, coming out of the wall, you can't just switch that off like a tap and then, propose to a different wall. It's a bit weird, but again, I think more so for Mallory, I think she's the one showing regret, isn't she?
Yes, I think so. And again, I mean, you look at Dave, we even see Nick and Vanessa doing a bit of overtime. The presenters, Lachey, they were there doing a bit of a big up for Cancun. Yeah, overtime. but sorry, just slightly going back to Mallory. I don't know, Dave. I think she's very unsure, and it almost feels as if like she's thinking, I don't know whether this is the experiment for me type situation. She's not reluctantly, but the Salvador thing, I think he's more into her than she is, as you've said. But
she's out already, isn't she?
Yeah,
she's not interested. She's ordered from Wish. she's got the package back, and she's like, yeah, this isn't really what I thought it was going to be.
yeah, and you're right, and I think it's gonna. I can't wait for episode 4. I'll be honest. I think it's just bubbling up nicely. There's enough for me and you to talk about, as we have done. I think we're going to see some fireworks, and the fact they're all together. It's too obvious what's going to go on. Shane and Shayna are going to be at it like fucking rabbits behind the partners' backs. I don't know about the other ones. I'm a bit thingy on Shake, as we've Deep Tea, because they're an Indian couple. They've both always dated blondes, haven't they? There's a real connection there. He did do a full 180 pretty quick, didn't he? When she gave him a reality check, and it was all about his own insecurities because he was asking her, could he lift her and stuff like that? So random.
I watched that one again last night. It's fucking brilliant.
It's so good.
Would I have trouble lifting
you? Yeah. Fucking hell. It's so bad that, but yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens as we go into episode 4. But I think it's just at the peak of my interest. Is like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. And I'm not happy with Samantha, Dave, my wife, because we're supposed to watch these together. She's about 3 episodes in front of me, and I'm like, hang on a minute, I've been waiting for you on maths and everything, and she's watching it. I walked in yesterday, and I already knew that Kyle and bloody Shayna were together because bloody she had it on. I was like, what's going on? And she went, I better turn this off in case it was. I know she's going to listen to this and give me a bollocking, but yeah, I'm not happy, Dave, because we've had to watch maths together, and we're holding off, and I could have been well ahead by now. So she needs to think, Dave. And I'm saying this being a coward because she's upstairs, and I'm not going to say it when we finish this podcast. But there you go.
So need to discuss maths next after this one. But, I mean, just final thoughts. I think Abhishek and Deep Terror. Is it Deep Terror or Deep Care? I can't quite remember. Yeah. But I think they got married in the last episode. In this one, you see a bit more of them together. I think they've started off well. I think, certainly out of any of the other couples, they've started out off better. And it'll just be, we'll see what happens, I guess. Like I say, I think he's going to come out with some fucking one-liners, I think. Just from that perception I've got from that first episode, I still think, he made a little course correction there, but he's going to slip up again, and totally here for it.
No, me too. But we will have you've just said, Dave, we will have a maths episode out very, very soon after this, guys, because we are literally caught up now, and I cannot wait as we go into this next week, because my God, have we got some stuff to talk about, Dave, on that. That's going to be outstanding. But as always,
it's so good.
It is. Sorry, Dave. It is.
It's all right, yep.
If you do want to contact us, guys, at CD Realitycast, if you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. And as always, get over to patreon.com/CD Realitycast if you want to support us a bit more. Today's roll call of honour is Michelle, Keith, Helen, Brianna, Noreen, Amy, Zoe, Joanna, Helen, Katie, Dee Dee, Priscilla, Susan, Hennessy, Lauren, Lucky Lulu Green, and Ken Gustafson. So thank you so much, guys. As always, we are powering through. Content has just gone off the chain these last 2 weeks, Dave, because we didn't do anything for 2 weeks, and we are committed to the cause, as you know, and it'll do both of our heads in if we're not up to date by today. So let's get it done, and we will get the episodes out as quickly as we can.
Awesome. And I tell you what, when we record that Maths episode, it's going to feel so good. Not to steal a line from Mr. Egghart there on The Bachelor. But yeah, this week's been a bit of a slog, hasn't it? So it's just we hate being behind. And I know Love is Blind is a little bit different because we know all those episodes are out, but getting everything else done, it's just so good. So yeah, been brilliant, mate. And I want to thank you very much for taking this journey and allowing yourself to be vulnerable.
I nearly bought that.
Thanks to everyone out there for listening, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.